Good morning, everybody. So this week we're going to do a drawing, and it's going to be a drawing of a cow. Cows are big and bulky and weigh a lot and smell, but I gotta tell you, cows are really kind of cute. I'll show you some pictures of cute cows that are just adorable. It's just like the pigs. There's something about farm animals that are just wonderful. So we're going to draw a cow this week and we'll get to color them in. Let's get started. This is a cow. Look how adorable he is. And these cows are Holstein cows, black and white. These are the ones we're going to focus on because they have such great characteristics and markings on them. Look at their face. That's amazing. So funny. Let's get started drawing a cow. All right, so on our paper, we're going to hold it horizontally. That means that it's the long way. And we're going to draw our cow right in the middle. If you imagine my hand, that's about how big he'll be. And then we can put a little bit of pasture around him and some sky in the background. All right? As always, we're going to start with shapes. Here's a terrific square, but we're going to use this shape. Remember the name of that one? It's it's very much like the square, but it's longer and it's called a rectangle. And that's going to be our cow's body shape. So in the center of the paper, we're going to carefully and slowly draw a big rectangle. I want to leave some room on the front and the back and the top and the bottom. I'll give you a second to do that. Now we're going to use an oval to draw his head in front of his body. So here we go with a nice oval. We're going to connect his head to his body by drawing a line from the top of his head to the rectangle and the bottom of his chin way down here to the bottom of the rectangle. Cows have really big necks with lots of skin, so we're going to give them a really big neck with lots of skin. Next, we're going to give him 2 eyes. There we go. And we're going to use an oval again for his nose, but this time the oval will go sideways instead of up and down. So watch, I'm going to make a nice oval right here. There's his nose, and inside the oval I'm going to make 2 little circles. Those are his nostrils where he breathes. Now he looks funny because he doesn't have any ears, so I'm going to come up to a point and up to a point on one side, and then up to a point and up to a point on the other side. Now he has a face. We're going to give our cow legs, and while his legs are skinny, they are not just little sticks like this. We're going to turn those sticks into long rectangles. Do you see how I made them a little bit fatter? So now he can stand up better. So if we look at our cow, I'm going to draw a line down and then bring it over and draw it right back up to his body. He has 2 legs in the front of his body, and then he has 2 legs in the back of his body. They're all the same length to hold him up nice and tall. And finally, we're going to finish our cow with a few details. He has hooves on the bottom of his feet. So I'm just going to draw a line on the bottom of each leg to make it look like hooves. He also has a long, skinny tail. I'm going to make that with a long, skinny oval. And then on the end of his tail, he has lots of hair, long hair. And when I was a kid, I went to a farm and got to sit on a cow. And the cow whips that tail back and forth to shoo the flies away. So he has a little hairy tail on the end. Then he also has udders. So I'm going to draw a little quarter circle right here and then erase these lines behind so that this udder is between his back leg and his front leg. This is how the cow feeds the little calves her milk. And this is where we get milk too. And so then they have 3 or 4 little udders hanging down so that we can get the milk. And then in the background, again, I'm going to make a ground line to the cow, behind, to the tail, behind, and to the other side of the paper. Now I have the cow in a green pasture with the farm behind. Last, remember we said this was a Holstein cow, and they have those white and black markings. So the cow is white, but we're going to give him some black markings. Now, cows' markings are not just round circles. They're very irregular shapes. So this time we don't even need to worry about our shapes. We can just make a shape as long as it comes back and connects where we started. You can even make a shape that starts one place and goes around and ends over there. So give your cow maybe 3 or 4 spots and then choose maybe 2 legs to put a little spot on. So when we color those black against the white cow, he'll look like our Holstein cow. I like to also put a little sun in the background somewhere. It's a nice sunny day, sun is shining on the farm, and my cow is just happy. Next step is to use our Sharpie marker and carefully just trace over our lines. Now remember, if you erased a line, like right there where I erased his leg, then don't draw that line. So we're going to draw the shapes that will stay. And then I've got his little leg back there. So I'm just going to draw the shapes. I'm not coloring anything in with my Sharpie. I'm going to save that for my crayons. All right? You get the idea. And now I'm going to use my big eraser to erase the pencil lines that still show after I've used the Sharpie. The Sharpie won't erase. That's why we like to use that. But I can get rid of all those pencil lines that I kind of missed a little bit. All right? So I'm going to go around and what I call clean it all up so that it's ready to go and get some color. All right, he's all cleaned up, ready to be colored. I'm going to start with pink, and I'm going to do 2 things pink, his nose and his udders. So I'm going to carefully outline his nose and then color it in nice and solid with that pink crayon. And then the same thing, I'm going to carefully outline his udders and then color it all in nice and solid with that pink crayon. There we go. Nice and solid. Really use those muscles. Now I'm going to use my black crayon. So there's a couple of things. His hooves are black. So we'll very carefully color in each one of those little hooves. Remember, it's not a race. You should stay in the line. His hooves are not all over the pasture. They're just on the bottom of his feet. And then can you guess what the other thing is that's black? We've talked about it. His spots. So I will carefully outline and color in his spots. So he is a white cow, and he has black spots all over his body. Notice that I decided to also color my cow's ears black. Sometimes they're black and sometimes they're white. I just decided to make his black right here. So the final thing we're going to color is the sun. And you can use either yellow or orange, or maybe even mix some of the yellow and orange together, just to color in that round circle for the sun. All right? Don't worry about the rays of the sun. They'll kind of take care of themselves. But you want to color up that sun nice and solid all the way around. And then I'm going to try maybe layering a little bit of orange on top of that. So maybe I'll put a little bit of orange on top of the yellow, so it has some yellow and orange together in that warm sunshine. Finally, I'm going to add some watercolor to the pasture and to the sky. So I'm really only going to be using green and blue. So I'm just going to wet that green and blue so they can start getting soft. Remember, I put a couple of drops in one color and a couple of drops in the other color and let those start to get soft. Then I'm also going to use newspaper underneath because I want to paint all the way to the edges. So very carefully, I'm going to get myself some blue for the sky, and I'm going to very carefully outline my cow. Remember, my cow is not blue. The sky is blue, so I have to be super careful to outline around that shape. I'll outline around the sun. And I'm even going to do this little space down here between his tail and his body. It's like a little triangle, isn't it? So I'm going to be nice and careful and take my time to outline right there. I'll outline around his back, right along there, all the way to the edge of the paper. This is the nice blue sky. Kind of like today, we're going to have a wonderful sunny day. There we go. And then, of course, I'll do the same thing around his face, all the way to the edge of the paper, and around his chin. Remember, he has that big, huge chin right there, all the way to the edge of the paper. Then I'm going to give him some green pasture down at the bottom. There we go. Get it going all the way to the edge of the paper. Now I'm going to do the green at the bottom. So I'll rinse my brush very carefully and now dip it in the green paint, being super careful to go around his legs. I don't want him to have pasture on his legs. So I'm going to go around each of his legs right up to that ground line so we can show the pasture. Okay? I'll give you some time to work on that. So here is our finished cow in the pasture with the sun shining. And we say goodbye to our lovely Holstein cows and have a great day.